106.3 FM so near Nebna walk room on was also the Achayan and in Tiasido as a any of the money and any animals of 94.7 and somebody else also so you want to be there and not no pain a baby will be near the Ebra war who are sentimentum so away in share as I say 104.5 and then the baby of a Fabian at Dempsey as of one of pay me Obidum be Kwaku Edu Kumene.
I'm not your waba. Address you.
As my head and I'm the Edmo Cotini and say, Uko Piemu at Tifru Mantam from a Jaris Abua, a paise boom. Am I some yet here is any pum you know what one another once you know.
Sansuna who draws one and we see Fonsia. Etimi aba na kopie mo my Ghana fikesie mu Jubilee House.
Esembi ka we woni abo no be de Abraham na adumalakio. Woni nu bi abo pa esanse. Eno na betimi abo na 3D bi e woni paduane mu bia no. Etu ase e de amawo na wuwie so a adum na chatonike. Eno na wono no mai no so boawo. Esanse moja mu fi nyina da e ba huru afuru am watimi ade ho pa a enya gro. Etimamode asanse betimi aka bi adum na chaman capsules na Mr. Bema waduro no. E osa de ewom pem na ne operation wabre kwaso 3 points no wo genu wabutu ani chese edwa ewom pem medical capsules ene ya medro wa ba besiesie ho ate na na eba nche ma ni tirimunya ne de na na ebo kekeka wo be pie no afi wo che wade wo bona ta so say e pa no eyi atro say e ban wo so beti de ewom pem ko bank e bo mo sambra ne say the Pan African Bank bo ma de asa obeku o makache bezi en wodwo fom wo de som Ghana je so nya nka pe ho wa bo tri kuma sanka de na fe goile fango pane nei abode ewo mayi mu wo shankani trotro driver taxi driver Uber driver wa uchi articulator ni tipa truck bomade asa obeko GOIL goile ene ne fango no digu shemu aba perfum bia de ku e de free engine to engine abrobia mro boso say tanwe na wo sene DBS for Colorlink Plus nei wo de aso yasene na Colorlink Plus na de bow down so a ensuo beto awia bebo apetam pene gina ne na so say peme finta urufin bia e di free chance no so gise nsu anguso awurade eti fi hye wo hanet se de to na nanom nyina benyina beto se so de ye boso ama e ye free bontu wada amenti obidum die kwaku adu kumemene
anochi waba address you.
Yanye brana fe ye mongra ensam na nkasa mu ye gbawura ensam na nkasa mu a na ya tifru mantam ene yade ani echire mu na ukopie mu ho a ya se petrol tanker bi so ayi fango atu se bum ama ensam aye tete se nipa mienu na ato anana no mo se na Rafik Salam ene de na ne adi nsam na chia ne ni nkomo Rafik, good morning.
Good morning, master.
Hello Rafik.
Good morning.
Rafik na no pay eba ne say na rahusem say na odenam.
Can you come again?
I was trying to find out what happened.
The incident occurred Monday afternoon. This is a fuel tanker belonging to Razos Oil. After discharging fuel a couple of days, it was completely washed at the Wadier Dam. From there, they brought it to the magazine to work some leakages that they detected. And so they came to the first shop, which is owned by one guy called Warford, who later became a casualty. And so when they came there, the place was full. And so they decided to move to a different place at the magazine. So when they moved to the second place, there were two guys that they met, the master and then his apprentice. And so they engaged their services to work these leakages. And so one of them went on top of the fuel tanker, and the other also went inside the tanker. And so the guy who was on top, who happens to be the apprentice, he was the one giving or supplying the metal to his boss, who was inside the tanker to do the welding. And so everything seemed to be going on well until the unfortunate happened when the fuel tanker blasted. And so the guy who was on top, the power of the blaze or let's say of the blast took him for about 20 meters.
Rafik, before you get Rafik, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Before you get there, are you trying to say that they were welding the vehicle whilst they were fuel in it?
there wasn't any fuel on it. They even after they discharged the fuel, a couple of days, it was completely washed. And so even when they took it to the magazine, you couldn't even smell, I'm told, any petrol on the tanker. And so this is not the first time that they have been doing it at the magazine. They have done it several times. And so even when they were doing the welding, the two were engaged in a friendly conversation while the work was going on until the unfortunate thing happened. And so for them, they said they have followed all the procedures, the safety measures that they have been engaging in welding these fuel tankers at the magazine. And so, like I was telling you, one was on top, one was inside the tanker. And so they were busily working on the welding when the unfortunate happened, and then the petrol tanker got blasted. And so the power of the blast took the one on top, that's the apprentice. About 20-30 meters away, he fell, lie supine, and then he died on the spot.
Oh!
The other one, who was inside the tanker, also was engulfed by fire, the blaze. He was inside the tanker while burning. So all his clothes or his working gears that he wore got burnt, leaving his body and blood oozing out. And he was shouting on the tanker for people to come and help him. So the people who were, there was another incident I told you about the man, the first shop that they took the tanker to, but the place was full. But because they wanted to do emergency things, they took it to a different welder. So he also was riding as a pillion and was passing to another shop when the blast occurred. And so for him, he also got wounded on the left arm. So he was taken to the hospital. But the other man who was inside the tanker, he kept on crying, and the tanker was very hot. Nobody could enter there to rescue him. But the workers at the magazine came out with water, and they were pouring the water on him. They poured the water until one of them climbed and jumped inside the tanker, tried to rescue him. He couldn't. The fire service also came, added more water. They poured water on him, but he was able. Unfortunately, he thought that even the water that the fire service brought was even warm. So one of them also jumped inside the tanker, and they tried to rescue him. He was alive. They took him to the hospital. The 1 minute hospital. He later passed on. So 2 of them died. One was hospitalized. But I'm told that the man who was a passerby, who had injuries on his left arm, was discharged yesterday, later in the evening. So that's the story from one.
Rafik, thank you so much. We will come back to you as and when the need arises. Can you hear me? Hello, Rafik.
Yes, but they have made some requests. Mm-hmm. The magazine asked, big ask, there's no clinic there. There's no fire station, and also there's no ambulance service. According to the workers, they called the fire service and then the ambulance service for over an hour. They weren't coming. So they are thinking that if they had these facilities closer to the magazine or inside the magazine, that would help them. They are saying that this is not the first time they have gotten accidents like that, but which is not of such magnitude. So if they could have a fire station closer, because cars have been burning at the magazine, if things like that, the fire service could quickly attend to them, or people who are injured could easily be attended to by the clinic.
Rafik, if they've been experiencing that, why don't they put in safety measures instead of bringing in issues?
Yes, they are putting there's safety measures. That was, but I say that as for accident, it comes what you don't even know. But I say that as part of the safety measures, they are thinking that if they have a clinic and also a fire station, that would also help them better.
Okay, so but the question is, instead of looking for things that will help them solve the issue after it has happened, why don't they put in precautionary measures so that it won't get to that point?
Okay, they said on their own they will organize a whole lot of meetings, a lot of sensitization, the magazine, but I think that this is another way that government could also come to their aid.
Rafik, God bless you so much. Rafik, no, and I'm here, brofo. The aquas one in an say, Tanka na apai. Ama nipa mienu na ato ananano mo nse do a wukyirema na se tanka no na ba bi epefa ho nto mo yo madwene so mo kwa akososo nti ba ku hyemu a wo so a ne se agi bum nipa mbro na ba ku de o mutimi eyi no ntentempa na ba ku so fire service fo ba o mu gbowura mo de ne koduru aresabia na timkagya woda ne to ho nti o mo nsre se be ya mpanyimfo mo awo mo ne ne edum ya o matena ye nanke won chempe eti egya ba ya pope ne amiagu so se efo na je se bibia to atwa wokyena bi ehunu ni mpre no so no so ankofa asema amfa menti adwa na esa asem ni ti a wenyina no
ana wama brofo yedu amayesa na
ya meti ya samu
kofi asawe pase uta ko fa brofo ba yenya di
kofi ani na ha no fe
ni na ho ni enya kresa
ya ko ya no de ni
abusia yenkonsem fufuro emu na amahodro makoma ensia wonuma na emusini abepiem wo mayi mu na wo mu akoya yede ade wani manyama kopiem wo my Ghana ye fikasie Jubilee House ye Ghana mampanyina tra ye kase na sa amanya na emusifo no ebi eye Korea na emusini ye no eye Lim John Take ana afi no Canada na emusini eye Kathleen Saba Namibia na emusini eye Salma Asipala Masavi ana afe Mexico enso de Enrique Ernesto Escoza Zamudio ana afe China de Lukun Australia na musini Thomas Shalsinga na sampani fo nyina bepiem wo man ma na chese na abotu etwa mu no omampanyi dada flight lieutenant Jerry John Rollins retired wabra Ghana ye nyina ne anom ne husika se etwato no na mpani fo nam so mode wani monyam bepiem wo man yi mu na owie na chese ho akohia se obontoa wo man yi ene e mantua hodo nyina emu na bia na odi frase no Ghana mampanyi akache na empanimfo yi ekopiem wo hono no na Korea na amusini ewo omayi emu wona chese wodi nka kura ya wodi nsam tudwa wo mampanyini akache na wo kire se sadio mampanyini befa ba nwa tira so de masi akwaye wo mayi mu no bibia di adanse se mampanyini wo bu omayi ye papa eti Korea na amusini Lim John Take yentie ne sem de bi
establishment of diplomatic relations. In 1977, our two countries maintained very close and cooperative relationship. I firmly believe that under my tenure as an ambassador, I try my best to expand the cooperative relationship between our two countries. The Korean government will strongly support your government policies and initiatives to pursue Ghana Beyond Day agenda.
No, not just we no, Korea name sini Lim John Take. Na enwachi no, Canada enso na musini Kathleen Saba. Wono so kasa en wacha se COVID-19 unity wo mayi mu. Wo hwe se de Ghana mampanyi pesi agyina ne naso ene asoafo a wonom ne hwa pomodi hu nsam so na wo mu ati ebo COVID di ne su nkuni ma ne se mampanyi na pamfo wonim di pa anti wo bo wo mo so abaso.
We a lot of us, myself especially, we look to Korea as our model of development in our country. Because we see Korea as a country that 50, 60 years ago was a poor agricultural rural economy and who's today one of the leading industrialized nations of the world. Those are Ghana's ambitions, and we look very much to the Korean model as an example of what we also can achieve. So the intercourse between our two countries, the relations between our two countries is something that is of great importance to us. I was particularly happy that last year we were able to assist in the release of the Koreans seamen who were the object of pirate attacks in our region.
Ghana Mampenny and Adom Kufuado. Ono so no din sami a wade ama aman ahodoa na musifo na eno achi no na Canada na musi ni Kathleen Saba enso Ghana Mampenny na baso kwani a wafa so ene COVID-19 akon adi ni so nkonim.
To continue along those lines, I should mention to you that we, for the first time now, have a deputy defense attaché based here at our mission in Accra, who will be working on support for the ELSI initiative for women in peace operations, as well as deepening our defense cooperation. In terms of our bilateral relations, I see my priorities for the coming years as threefold. I would like to focus on increasing our trade and investment ties. I would like to also continue to cooperate with your government on issues, on shared values around democracy, human rights, gender equality, and of course cooperation to support your government in the inclusive economic recovery resulting from COVID-19, and also to support your efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
Na wabra Canada na musini mame Kathleen Saba kasabia na Ghana Mampenny si mame meda asia buru se watumi aba na bepiem wo mamu na mesabo se yade niam ahodo begu akwan mu se be adwade hu nsam ni sikasem ebetimi ayire pampe ewo Ghana man ene Canada man entem.
We hope that it will so continue. Your predecessor did a great deal of work to bind our two countries even stronger together, and I'm confident that you are going to walk in the same path as she did and let the relations between Ghana and Canada flourish. The Prime Minister is one of my favorite people, a much younger man than me, but still have been able to find a way to cooperate and think along together. He's very responsive to the letter that I sent about the need for the world to think of special ways of assisting the African continent during this difficult time. He's taken the lead in organizing a series of global meetings to address this very phenomenon, and I want to extend to him our strong appreciation of the leadership he has shown in this area.
No, na Ghana Mampenny akasawie ye no. Ena China na musini lukun. Wono so kasa. Ana wode nsamutu jana wo kire se wone Ghana Mampenny so won ba yire wo motambu papa. Na adwade hu nsam atumi agina bra na Ghana Mampenny so kasa no wo kire se China mine no sese no wo hwe se de wo masie nya akwan bia nwuma wo mayi mu a wo mo fa sa akwanya ne so na wo mu ni dwa na masika emra wo man mu.
Various initiatives that have been taken by China in the combat against this COVID-19 disease, and the opportunities that it has given to us once again to strengthen the relations between our two countries. I'm hoping that the Chinese companies, and there are more and more in Ghana, are going to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area and expand their businesses here in Ghana in order to reach the large African market that is now available.
Why aye Ghana Mampenny sembi odi tuja wabra amai maku nsia na musifo eba na ikopie na kache ewo o my Ghana fikesie mu Jubilee House.
Ose papa ba ko ne din ne de Lim Kun de
eh Korea de ne Lim John Take.
Lim John Take anate.
Take T-A-E-K.
Take.
Ena Canada de ne Kathleen Saba. Ena na Bibia Yesoma Asipala Musavi. Ena Mexico ye Enrique Ernesto Escoza Zamudio. Ena China de Lung Kum.
Lung Kum.
Ena Australia de Thomas shall singer.
Kofi Hassan and all the eka. The and the well, my breakfast. Eba watika. Yenna was not as your body break. None of Yenna, you would come. Obidum ye, Kwaku, do come.
I'm not sure waba.
Yana no pay your soup when they are so Kofi Hassan. In a way, you don't buy, I don't think.
That's right.
I owe 5. Yatinaba. Bagradi share the cost to be a Nadam to Murebi. Now, where's it? Your friend or just was it Adom Super Weekend News? Mobile Juma Pa, the Kofi Trata. As a messenger, what they buy and was a broken mango and send me battle, Nanketia and get. Was it Papa and Jankoma Louisa Adoma? I don't know and Cranquanta. We see a friend of Caroline. Now, Caroline's message at what they buy was in Manchester. And one would tear dear free was what her live pa. I'm a cocoso dear what they was good morning, you and also the free I be. And what the way Airbus house now Barney Benjamin. And so dear whatever was here, I don't FM, you are Fanta Bruta Brucum. And also the way free by NT. Yadi BBS. Yes, sorry, so now for just some papa be and Nabna dear. Branch Chief Jerry Force is Jenny treated. And also Miniaba. As a pa, it will move no cabum dia nese, and a bed, and I was a nitria tega. And go here, Nidia Cabacas in the tree passe, and I need to do one killing a widia, a tega in Indian coin, in Tiano Babet Nasi, not just so simple, and Wuska. And the obese.
Yeah, so boy, kind of bad in the building, what you say. The only physiologist I mean, what I say. By physiologist, any rest of phobia, come out with Mamma Fodi. Now, come for me first 84 come and say no. The customer needs you one number boy. Before we take your chap, and not give you a minute, you are the moral authority, how work for our son before you take your chap. Well, now, trouble for so Muto Crocacra, now then Quanca. So what I said, a number more the cover back which I would do. Huh? I don't know, I'm already. To chat, now the phone offer him. And Kumao Muswa, now you come a crap after the problem. What I said, Mom always have a phone. I have Musu with as I irritating. See the phone out the French one, before you many young. There is some boy kind of bad in the building, what I say. The only physiologist I mean, what I say. By physiologist, any rest of phobia, come out with Mamma Fodi. Now, come for me first 84 come and say no. The customer needs you one number boy. Before we take your chap, and not give you a minute, you are the moral authority, how work for our son before you take your chap. Well, now, trouble for so Muto Crocacra, now then Quanca. So what I said, a number more the cover back which I would do. Huh? I don't know, I'm already to chat, now the phone offer him. And Kumao Muswa, now you come a crap after the problem. What I said, Mom always have a phone. I have Musu as I irritating.